Hello and welcome to the 8th round of ARL Season 4 here in Tier 1. We've reached the midway point of the season here in Austria, and for the first time since the Japanese Grand Prix, I'm delighted to be joined by LSJ Rundle. Hello, Rundle.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here, and it should be a very interesting race. It's a great circuit, as I'm sure you're about to introduce it. But yeah, it's a fantastic circuit, and I'm sure we're in for a thriller.
Absolutely, a lot has changed in the championship. Well, I say a lot has changed, but the races have caused a lot of tension in the championship since your last race here at Japan. So obviously you've had a look into it. What have you found? Because I know you were talking some numbers before we
Yes,
started.
yeah. So I've noticed Jack has really fallen off the pace since Japan, uh, and his main rival is now Speedy, and he's scored 38% more points than Jack since last time I was here in the booth, which was Japan. So yeah, the championship has been really quite um, the turntables, as the office might say. So yeah, it's now moving more and more towards Speedy. Of course, Jack still does lead the championship, and Williams are still ahead in the constructors. But the dynamic of the championship has very much shifted ever since Japan and Azerbaijan.
Yeah, to the point now where they're only separated by 12 points at the midway point of the season coming into this one. So, yeah, it seemed like at the start there obviously wasn't a lot to play for. At the top, Jack didn't really have anyone to battle with. But since the various scenarios in the last few weeks, yeah, that gap really has closed, and the battle resumes today. Even mention Axe. You know, he's 40 points behind Lilley, but with the win in France and obviously last week at Hungary really dented him due to the distraction and him crashing under the safety car. Yeah, that's hit him a bit in terms of the championship. But Williams versus McLaren, Lilley versus LMG, it really has heated up, especially again in ABS France. I'm pretty sure they hit each other on the final lap in a similar way. Not a similar way, but obviously on the final lap they hit each other again. And, well, yeah, things have certainly got tense. Few words was exchanged after that one as well. So,
Yeah,
who knows what this
definitely a
second
few.
half of the season
Yeah, we're in for a few
has to
fireworks,
offer.
that's for sure.
Yeah.
And Jack at the moment leads the championship. Sorry, the championship. Yes, that's true. But he also leads the timing screen with 11 minutes or so to go, 2.5. So
It's already beaten last season's pole time.
yeah, it's a very good lap. Axe in fourth. We mentioned him earlier. Such showed remarkable time trial pace, and that's being reflected at the moment. A third place currently. He's just outside of the kind of the fight for third in the championship, so he's in fifth, 20 points shy. But you know, it can all change ever so quickly.
Speaking of such as pace as well, he was on pole position here last season at Austria, beating V2 Combat by 1,000th of a second. So, yeah, what a quali that was. Unfortunately, in the race, he picked up a penalty when others didn't, and combined with a late puncture, he could only manage fourth. So, third place for now. Obviously, VRT Lilley keeps on improving. Same with the likes of LMG, etc. So it's a bit harder to get pole position this season, but he's certainly been letting them know that he's there, and he still shows really strong pace week in, week out. Anyway, I'm going to talk about the rest of this week's races. Started on Friday, we now have the confirmed results for Tier 4 after a post-race penalty for Joey Fitz with a collision with GSR Grosjean. It means that Curtis Faded won the Tier 4 Austrian Grand Prix ahead of Shazzy and Joseph as well. Joey was demoted to 5th with that penalty. In Tier 3, Utah Elephant took the race win ahead of Cool Kyogre and MNK Boy in that one. And in Tier 2, Chungus won the race. So a few surprise winners this weekend. Certainly wouldn't have been matching anyone's predictions, I'll say that much. Xpilo second and FRT Rossi on the Tier 2 podium for the first time. So that's great to see.
Yeah, I mean, that's the first I've heard of Curtis winning Tier 4. That's great news for the McLaren boys. But yeah, I mean, that was a dramatic race. I only tuned in for the second half. Speedy, talking about McLaren, jumps up to the top of the timings.
Combat and Lilley the exact same time for P2.
Whew.
Talk about how close Austria is.
Yeah, I mean, there's fine margins around here. You always, have the field kind of bunch up when it's such a close lap. And it's not the most technical lap because there's only, a couple of significant braking zones that you actually have to get right. So that combination of factors, but it does bring the timings closer, which is always good. It means that every single, there's room for very fine margins around here. So you get the line wrong, and you could be, instead of being sixth, you could be 26th. Obviously not in this grid, but yeah, you know what I'm saying. Oh, Alfie's lost it in the pit lane.
Oh dear. Yeah, a few questions in the chat. Where did Joey drop in results? I believe he dropped to 5th, which yourself, Thrasher, means you got 4th. Who's that other commentator? I'm joined by Rundle, as mentioned at the start, although many people obviously don't watch the very start. But we've also got a question from Danny. How old are you, if you want to announce it to the world?
How old am I? How old do you think I am?
Alright, Danny, guess how old he is.
I'm intrigued.
What has qualifying come to? Axe starts another lap time. Oh, just watched his on board there. Got loose.
It's one of those things, people either say 40 or 14. I'm not entirely sure.
It depends. He says 14.
14. Yeah, I'll take that.
14. Oh, F1 driver. Oh my days. Almost another accident in the pit lane. I thought they were more common on the exit of the pit lane, but apparently not. Anyway, we're entering the last 7 minutes of this session. From the order so far, LMG from Combat, from VRT Lilley, who's on another lap here.
Oh, don't switch over to Immortal. Oh, Jesus. Immortal's glitched like buggery. Yeah, it's all good. Just gave me a bloody, what do you call it? With the flashing lights. It'll come back to me. Anyway, it's irrelevant. It's all sorted now.
VRT Lilley runs wide there at turn 5, and he's now down on his time significantly, so may see this lap aborted because it's, although the last 2 corners are very, very important to nail as he invalidates. Yeah, not a great lap from VRT Lilley, but Tax up in 5th place at the moment. He's been, bottom 10 for most of the season. He's up in 5th so far in this qualifying session.
It's brilliant.
Bit of traffic further back.
Easily his best of the season. Yeah, far his best. There's a really good lap from Tax. Obviously he's going to get shuffled down. So we've had Aid set his lap time, going up to 4th place.
V2 Combat just invalidated at the final corner. Had that have maybe stayed valid, he could have been just a matter of hundredths behind FRA LMG's benchmark. Such J is on a lap in the middle sector. He's almost 2/10 up as he navigates the double left-hander. It's a quick kink to the right for going back downhill for the penultimate corner. Important to stay committed as he has done into the final. Another invalidation. There's a couple of drivers now getting caught out. That would have been good enough for P4, but obviously it's invalidated.
Moving towards the final stages of this qualifying session. Pluto's just started his flying lap. 14th at the moment, but a couple of tenths will move him significantly further up the grid. His teammate is currently on provisional pole, invalid. I imagine this is an in-lap. Yep. He's not following his own instructions though. He didn't keep a wheel in the lines. I'm sure it wasn't that bad, there wasn't anyone behind him. So, yeah. Jarve comes into the pit lane.
mention...
Oh.
Sorry, I should also just mention the reserves. FH in the Racing Point today, replacing Kyle, who, guess what, is watching the Manchester Derby. Well, why not watch ARL? Why not participate? Yeah. They always put the relevant football games on at this time. But, you know, ARL, clear as always. And
Pluto.
we also have Atlantis in the Renault.
Pluto's jumped up
Pluto
to fourth. Yeah, just 2 tenths off. Marginally faster than Alfie. Alfie is invalid. I would imagine he's coming back into the pit lane.
Oh, there's a 1,000th between Alfie George and Aid there. Busy Gorgon in the middle sector. I think he might be on an in-lap here. TRT Immortal has just come into the pits as well. So many drivers now in the pits. And even LMG now is out for their final lap. How do you prepare for this one? Because it's so important at Austria. Every 1,000th of a second counts, as we've seen in previous seasons. I think, what was it? There was a race recently where there was another pole time split by a 1,000th as well. So it's so important. How do you prepare for it?
You've got to find a good kind of mental space to occupy during the outlap, I'd say. Just try and focus your mind, block out any distractions. If you've got anyone in the party, tell them to shut up. And yeah, it's that sort of thing. But these guys, they all know what they need to do. It's just about the execution. And whether or not they actually do execute that comes down to instinct and kind of momentary reactions. So it's all down to the last 2 minutes of this session.
LMG around the final corner. He's come out early once more, and away he goes for his final qualifying lap. He may meet some traffic, as he has done in previous weeks, but into turn 1, using all of that outside curb, keeping it within the limits, and now is the run uphill towards turn 3. He's getting a slipstream actually from Axe there. He may not have realised it. He's slightly down though in the first sector. Third gear for the hairpin, getting on the throttle nicely. And down towards turn 4 then, again using all of the outside curb. Nice rotation again with third gear. Hug the inside line. Then comes the double left. Important to stay committed. Touch the curb. Use all of it on the outside again. You can invalidate by doing that. And there we go. He is up on his time in the middle sector. And down towards the penultimate corner. Could catch him out. No, it won't. And into the final corner, where we've definitely seen it catch out some drivers. And coming across the line, it's a 102.3 for LMG. As he almost extends his pole margin by 2 tenths now.
Jarve through the final couple of corners to set his first time is going to be valid. And across the line is a 4.8.
Was it valid?
No, it wasn't. It's just come up as invalid.
Yeah.
So,
and
he's crashed on circuit on purpose, which might get investigated.
I mean, he's out the way, so
yeah.
I think that might be legal. VR Team Lilley, third place man at the moment. Struggling a bit out of the hairpin. Might have lost him some more time.
He's got Alfie
got a bit of clear road ahead of him.
Yeah, he's got Alfie though, but hopefully they don't. I think they're far enough.
They're both on a lap.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, we've got yellow flags all the way through. There's a Renault off at turn 1. Combat jumps up to
F1 driver.
F1, sorry. Yeah, F1 driver.
Last season's race winner, in fact.
So Combat didn't jump up, did he? He started a lap. He's still identical with Jack.
Oh, Alfie George loose
Jack's
off the exit of the final corner, but he goes up to 4th anyway.
Jack was invalid and then set an identical lap time as well.
He did?
So he's got one last shot.
Who else have we got on laps? Corey Marshall next across the line here. Stays 8th fastest. Jab 10th placed at the moment, having a great season here so far.
Polo jumps up to 8th. Yeah, it's a
Pluto,
2.679 from
What's
Polo.
happened? Alfie George has spun. Was VRT Lilley slow and involved as well, maybe? Alfie George is going the wrong way, so he's got to get back on circuit quickly. V2 Combat can't improve, but stays second. Who else have we got on laps? Age is coming to the pits. Jab.
Invalid.
Invalid.
Seed through the final corners. Actually, and Jab as well. Jab doesn't improve.
Invalidated.
But Seed is on a valid one. 17th though. That's Alfie binning it. I think other than the Haas, yeah, we're done. This is the grid for the Austrian Grand Prix.
It is indeed, and another pole position for LMG, and he's got a car in between himself and Lilley, so this should be really interesting. V2 was, what, 4/10 from a podium last week? He gave it a really good go. Great strategy from the Renault driver, but could this be finally the day where he gets onto that podium once more?
I don't believe we've had a pole sitter win this weekend. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think we have.
I don't think so either.
So
I'm not
is
sure.
that a
I
bad
didn't watch
omen?
3.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the grid.
Indeed it is. A McLaren and a Renault share the front row of V2 Combat with the exact same time as VRT Lilley. Alfie George lines up in 4th, ahead of F1 driver in 5th. Pluto in 6th, then ahead of GSR Aids. Then comes Polo Gods, Corey Marshall, and SV Tax, about 4/10 there within the top 10. Jab in 11th, might be a good thing starting outside the top 10. Then comes Such J, Busy Gorgon, TRT Immortal, Axe F1, and then you get to 16th, we're still within 5/10, and then Seed, Atlantis, FH, and Jarv. The whole grid within about 7/10 there. The last two that set a lap there are the two Tier 2 reserve drivers for today, but it's a very, very close grid.
Yeah, close grids always mean close racing, so I'm excited to see this. Overcast conditions, it's going to protect the tyres a little bit. We're expecting 1-stops, but we did see M&K Boy pull off quite a successful 2-stop with the help of some VSCs. So it'll be interesting to see if anyone gambles on that. But yeah, I'm intrigued to see what people go for, whether they go soft to medium and risk a blowout, or do soft to hard.
I'm intrigued to see if the lobby wants to work today. That's the main thing here. I want to see a clean
a weekend without
racing,
lobby
a
issues.
clean getaway from the grid with no lobby issues. It would be a miracle.
It would. Thank you, Cody's. Yeah.
Very cool.
Right, formation lap, here we
we're
come.
on the formation lap. That's a good start. Strategy, well, there we have it. The top 10 obviously obliged to start on the soft tyres. Jab, Such, Busy Gorgon, TRT Immortal, Axe, and Sync Sam have opted for mediums. TRT Seed aggressively has gone for the soft tyres. So he's gone opposite to everyone else outside that top 10. And then Atlantis, FH, and Jarv. Jarv's got a comeback to do, hasn't he?
He does, yeah. It's a regular occurrence for sure. He seems to start the back quite often, but you know, gives you a bit of a spicy race, I suppose, starting down there. But yeah, he's been beaten by the two Tier 2 reserves stepping in here today. So yeah, he'll be looking to beat them on circuit, I'm sure. Seed on the softs. That's going to be an interesting one to watch as he tries to cut through those slower mediums early on. But pace is surely going to drop off within 6 or so laps.
Yeah, this one sounds a bit boring, but I'm really, really intrigued for this top 3 battle, especially as the two have collided twice in the last 7 days. Once again, VRT Lilley and FRA LMG. Turn 1 at Hungary. Lilley just dived in and unfortunately ran wide and half spun himself. I think it happened again in SRC. Did a similar thing actually. I think it's SRC. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. But this top 3 battle should be really, really good. V2 Combat, his tyre conservation is really, really strong. So a track like Austria where extending softs is a great thing, you know, he should come into play.
Yeah, you can't rule either of those guys out. So I'm really, really excited for this one.
Grids is being reformed, no disqualifications, and drivers pull in. Then, as we're about to get going for this Austrian Grand Prix, lights will come on shortly for the drivers. And we're revving it up then. That worried me for a second, but it's lights out, and away we go. Good getaway from LMG. V2 Combat holds on to Peter, but it's 3 wide there in the background as Pluto is fighting here. Oh, and he's half spun there. He just manages to keep it in shape. Up to 4th goes F1 driver ahead of Aid, then Tax, then Corey Marshall. What a start from Tax. Already up to 6th place.
5 wide.
Look at the background. It's 3 wide many times in there, even 4 there as a Haas gets turned slightly. It is about 5 wide on the exit there, as there's all sorts of chaos going on. There's almost 2
Marsh, Pluto and Alfie into turn 4. And there's an Alpha Tauri there with Polo squeezing his way through one jab. It's absolute chaos here, but actually I think no damage, which is very nice to see.
Axe diving up the inside of Seed. Poor qualifying position for Axe actually, but his comeback is starting now. And we've got Pluto around at high speed.
Yeah, Pluto's not got a front wing anymore. We'll be rejoining the circuit in dead last and switching onto probably hard tyres. That's a safety car, so he's saved his race. We've got Atlantis in as well, I believe.
No, Immortal. He's given himself more wing damage, so they change it. But that was a very, very illegal pit entry. But he's Okay.
So Pluto's race has also been saved by that. Who's the Renault? Oh no, it's the safety car. That's why I was confused. Yeah. If they make it yellow, there's just no need. Anyway. Pluto's out of the pits.
Hopefully they put it green on the next F1 game. Actually, that would just be too similar to Aston Martin. What am I on about? Anyway. LMG still leads. It's the same top 3 as before. Pretty equal starts from those guys.
Pluto has swapped onto what I can only imagine will be a soft medium. Passes the safety car up the hill. Safety car, of course, waiting to pick up the leader, who's going through the final corners now. Pluto's lucky not to have been lapped, I suppose, so he can just rejoin the back of this train. So he's only really lost position. So yeah, it's not ideal. We've got Corey Marshall in the pit lane as well. And
Atlantis has got a penalty for a severe collision with Sam. I'm not sure what's going on there.
He's off on the grass.
Oh.
Did he try and enter the pit lane and then collide? I'm not entirely sure. Corey onto hards. We'll see if Atlantis needs to change his wing.
And Polo's just traded positions with Alfie George, so not too sure what's going on under this safety car, but on lap 3 of 36, we may well have it in on this lap.
Yeah, it just neutralises the race. Atlantis is serving, no he's not, it's lag. Apologies, so Pluto's up to P18, Atlantis P19. And yeah, like you said, top 3 are the same. While the changes throughout the grid then, who's lost and gained early on.
Ooh, let's have a look if I can actually find the position changes I have. big winners then in the top 10, obviously Tax. Alfie George lost 4 off the start. Such up into the top 10 then. Axe gained 3 as well. Jar from 20th. Unsurprisingly from that, gained 5 positions. Big losers then, Corey Marshall and Pluto. But we're not going in actually.
Yeah,
so
another lap.
I think we're still waiting to pick up the rest, the couple of cars. So
actually, to be honest, for Atlantis, you know, he's not actually lost that much. He's lost 1 position, and he's now on mediums. I think he must have been on mediums prior to that anyway. So yeah, it's not ideal, but not the end of the world.
Safety car lights still flashing then. Can only assume we're in on this lap. V2 Combat has left quite a big gap between himself and LMG. Probably for tyre warm-up. One pro for these drivers about the safety car is that their tyres just be saved a little bit and they can maybe consider going longer. Maybe go for that soft medium strategy after all, because often it's a split between, do I want to go soft medium and really try and risk and stretch the tyres, or should I just play it safe and go soft hard? So these drivers will now be thinking, hey, I might go for the soft medium now, providing my tyres are still in good condition. But the safety car is in this lap.
Yeah, I mean, the mediums, we can expect them to not last any longer than 21 or so laps. That's the blowout Graham had on his first stint, actually. So, yeah, 21 laps is probably the safe maximum, or the unsafe maximum. So, yeah, that's what we've got to look out for as we go green.
Safety car is just about to pull into the pit lane. It was a very early call, actually. It actually came on the run to turn 5, 6. So, surprisingly early. But LMG backing up the pack. And there he goes, full throttle, and away he goes to start lap 5 of this Austrian Grand Prix. But contact between Busy Gorgon and Axe gives them both a 5-second time penalty for a collision. Such J's got a great restart. He's already passed Alfie George, overtaking his former team. ABS Jarve up to 14th place as well. Corey Marshall with a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Atlantis is side by side with Pluto and ahead.
Alfie and Jab trading places.
Atlantis and Pluto, the battle we all want to see back there. But for P9, Jab looking for the move on Alfie George, who's now lost 2 positions from this safety car restart.
Jarve is up to 14th. Yeah, really good restart for Jarve then. He's gained another position. And he's going to be on this train, so yeah, this train is going to snake its way around. Such, of course, the lead medium runner.
Denied a victory last season through the penalty and the puncture. Was leading the race for effectively the whole thing. And on the alternate strategy, just needs to try and keep in touch with this train. DRS will be enabled on the next lap. He's in a really good position here, Such. V2 Combat about 4 tenths behind LMG. I don't expect any immediate overtakes. Strategy may come into play for any changes of position, but
yeah, the top guys are all equal on ERS. We're going to just be sitting comfortably for now. Just try and conserve, try and break away from, you know, the Haas of aid. V2's left.
Oh no! Oh no!
Let me try and get him back in.
Okay, thank you. And up goes F1 driver into 3rd place then for that podium position. That's so unlucky. V2 Combat. Hopefully he can get back in swiftly. DRS enabled then at the start of lap 7 due to the safety car. It's a 3rd lap after. Aids now up to 4th place. Tax up to 5th, then another position gained for him. Such J making his way up to 7th then, as sadly V2 Combat is going tumbling down the order.
I've sent him another couple of invites. Just in case. Yeah, there we are. Okay. Hopefully he's got that. He can rejoin and hopefully he'll still be in the top 10. But it looks unlikely. Alfie George is going to be the next one past.
Yeah. In just a few seconds. Busy Gorgon through as well.
It's given Speedy enough of a gap to break away from Jack though. 1.1 seconds.
It's broken up the train a bit because Age now over a second behind F1 driver. Polo God up close to the back of Tax. Alfa Romeo, his former. Ooh! Gets a little bit loose on the apex there. That may have resulted in a spin, but he's managed to save it. I'm going to check if V2 Combat can get back in okay.
Yeah, I've sent a couple of invites. I hope he's not
restarting his Xbox.
Yeah, okay. So I'll send him another one in a bit.
Alright.
Because he won't have got those. But I'll sort that out. Yeah, he's really plummeting down the order. That is such a shame. We're picking up the fight between the big three, and it's just dissipated with that. Polo and Tags are converging on each other.
It would have been closer if not for the slide at turn 1, but through starting lap 9 here then. Quarter of the way into the race.
We've seen these two.
Tax on 8.
Yeah, we've seen. Oh yeah. Just going to talk about. Oh my word, Polo. That's later on the brakes than Tax. Almost hits the back of him, but doesn't protect his front wing, and he'll go on the offensive into turn 4 perhaps. Alright, I'll send another one.
BRT Lilley just about clawing in into that second range for DRS, and Aid gets a time penalty, which is not a good thing for obvious reasons, but we have a yellow flag, and that is Corey Marshall. He's had a spin. I think he's made contact with the wall as well, and down he goes to 19th place. He does have damage.
Yeah, it's just so. I mean, at least V2 won't be last. When he rejoins, I think he's about to be back in. F1 drivers applying a lot of pressure to Jack now. Jack's locking up into turn 4, so feeling the heat of the Alpha. Out a great day for Alpha actually. 15 points for 3rd and then 10 for 5th place. Tax. Great race from him so far.
He's net 4th still with the penalty, and there as well on pace with Age. So yeah, Tax having a great day so far.
Such is in a good position, 7th place with those mediums. He'll be looking to get the overcut on the soft runners once he gets clean air. Could actually make a move on Polo into turn 1.
He had the run there, but
yeah.
see why he backed out. Brakes late though. His medium tyres really starting to come into play, and with Polo's widening gap up ahead, Such may feel like an overtake is coming soon. Here he goes to the outside. Polo almost hits the back of Tax, but around goes Such J all the way around the outside of Polo God, but Polo God's still there in the fight. Jab as well has a good view on this, and well, Such J with a great overtake, but Polo's not given up. He's trying to go around the outside, but the door closes there on the exit. Great move from Such J, clinical overtake, and he sets sights on Tax and Aid.
Yeah, great stuff. I see. Yeah, definitely the mediums fading in to their own. this point of the race. The soft 10 laps, yeah, okay, I would imagine most of these guys are now looking at the soft and medium because the opportunity to pit onto hard has kind of gone begging at this point. F1 driver and Jack very close into turn 1.
Oh, just a slide through the exit and brings them a little bit further away. Will we have an overtake here from Tax, who has a lot of ERS to play with? Here he goes though, he's got the run. Will he go down the inside? No, he won't. The opportunity presented itself. But, oh, Jab and Polo God side by side. Jab now getting ahead. So, more evidence maybe that the mediums are really starting to
Aiden Tax.
Tyre. Oh, he's hit him! He's hit him. Jab has hit the back of Such J. Got Such sideways there, but even worse, Jab himself, he might have got away with minimal damage. He did hit him.
Yeah, I can't see any wing damage there.
Seed on Axe into the penultimate corner as well. I think Axe is coming into the pits here. He has damage himself. So that's unlucky. Axe on the medium tyres is now certainly going to have to get some hard tyres to the end now. A bit earlier than he would have anticipated coming into the race. But F1 driver again closing in on VRT Lilley. Such is progress. Been dented a bit by Jab, but he's already on the back of these two cars. But a mistake through there. Polo God now looking for the overtake. V2 Combat's back in. Have we got Busy Gorgon around? Yes, we do.
Pluto's made a move on FH up to 13th.
He has indeed.
So yeah, these mediums seem to have got some pace now. He's now got to hunt down Jarv. That's Jack in the pit lane.
In for the undercut then. Such with the time penalty could be costly. It was costly last season if he didn't get the puncture, of course, but...
Is that softs or hard? So mediums, it is mediums for Jack. So he's going aggressive. 22 laps on those tyres.
Here comes Such down the inside and late on the brakes. He's got the move done. Very nicely executed by the Red Bull driver. And yeah, mediums like you say for Lilley and Polo God. So they're going 22, 23 laps on these.
Yeah, that's gonna be tough.
They're pushing the limits of them, and
yes,
it's basically how Such got the puncture, I believe. So we'll see.
It's
Could be
aggressive. He's looking for the undercut, of course, but he doesn't want to give up the benefit of the mediums. So he's looking to take slices of two parties at this moment in time. I think Tax is jumping the pit lane. He is. So no, he's not. He just took a very weird line there. That's Albion.
LMG and F1 driver in. Same with Alfie. Same with TRT Seed. So we'll see where VRT Lilley comes out in comparison to LMG. Because if the roles are reversed, we could be in for a great battle. Here's VRT Lilley.
He's passed
ahead.
in turn 1. But I think he's going to be ahead. He is. He's found a second on the undercut. But he's...
Vapor Joe says, I ended on 76. Oh, Such for the lead. For the current lead of the race, he's got that done.
That's risky. I think both of them, they've got to nurse those tyres. For 20, I think Jack will be in a better place. Sorry, Lewis. Considering the fact you can't just park it around Austria, you know, you can be overtaken. So I think Lewis will fade back into this. But yeah, brilliant undercut from Jack.
Tax finally in as well now. Yep. Jab still going. Aids in as well now. So that's basically everyone off the softs. V2 Combat may still have a bit of life in them. Obviously, it was his AI driving around for a bit. But he's back in now. And he resumes. Was that Lilley with the fastest lap?
It was indeed. and Sam picked up a time penalty for crossing. So Pluto's going to look to make the move here. Sam defends the inside. Pluto looks to go around the outside, maybe gets the switchback. I think he's been tagged by Jarv. He did. He got tagged in the rear by Jarv, looking to make a move of his own. That really hampered Pluto's exit.
FH 6th now on the medium tyres as well. Atlantis 7th then. These guys forming a train of their own. VRT Lilley will hit this traffic soon. He's got Busy Gorgon in front of him. Then just a couple seconds up the road is the back of that train. That's Atlantis up there. So these two will hit it. It'll bring them closer together. Intriguing.
So yeah, as it stands, I believe Jack will extend the championship lead to 19 points. Sorry, 18 of course, because... actually no, 19, because one's got fastest lap, but one's got pole position. So that's how it stands. Right now, of course...
Oh, FH! Ooh.
Has he saved
And
it?
through goes Atlantis. Just about saved it. That's a few of those we've seen. Turn one is
Pluto
actually
on
very
sync.
tricky.
Yeah, it's a very tricky corner, and Jack has got past Busy Gorgon. Gorgon's still there on the outside. And I think, yeah, that's a position made squarely in Jack's favour.
Oh, and Pluto on Sam down the inside of turn 4. But his car in a good position to make that move and defend it as well. So Pluto up to 3rd in the current situation of the race. Next up for LMG is his real life friend, Busy Gorgon. Oh, friends.
It's only a matter of time. Yeah, so he's got to clear Busy and then head after Jack. Hopefully, you know, he's going to... Oh, that's a fastest lap for Jack. Hopefully he can respond. No, he can't. So, yeah, he's losing time right now. And that's a penalty.
He's run wide. He ran wide. I was on board with him. And that is a time penalty, which he is going to regret very much. 3 goes, though, on Busy Gorgon. And that changes the race significantly.
Yeah, Jack's really caught in this train now. So this is Lewis's time to catch up and strike. But yeah, and actually it's his teammate Pluto that leads it. So, yeah, it's not gone too badly wrong for the McLaren boys. Pluto recovering well, of course, making that early pit stop. 3rd right now. Clean air ahead of him.
BRT Lilley's got a good run on FH. He used a lot of the inside curb there. Didn't result in a spin, luckily for him.
Yeah, it's imperative as always to clear this traffic, but it's quite dense. It's going to make his life pretty difficult. Speedy gets the fast lap back off Jack.
Jack is really giving it everything to try and clear this train before LMG's right on the back of him. Atlantis defends a little bit, and Jack sends it around the outside anyway, but there's contact, and Atlantis forces him off the track. He won't be very happy with that. They're side by side on the exit here, and Atlantis is holding on for dear life over VRT Lilley, who has a pit stop advantage over him, still trying to fight it around the outside. These two have history from Spain, but finally through goes VRT Lilley.
James didn't make that particularly easy for Jack, totally fair. But yeah, he's always parking it there in front of Lewis. Then he gets switched back into the final corner. I think he's going to allow him through, actually. Yeah, he's through, so much easier for Speedy over Jack. So he's really gained through there. Of course, he's got the penalty. But
neither will be particularly grateful.
No. Lucky not to pick up damage there. But we've got F1 driver and Busy Gorgon swapping positions on the main straight. And Jarv pulls over to allow Jack through.
Will he do the same for LMG? Yes, he does, but he's tried the slipstream, and luckily it hasn't gone wrong.
Jack is on 17% ERS compared to LMG's 60. And Sync as well gets out of the way. And V2, now back in the race, sets the fastest lap. What could have been for him?
Yeah, really, for sure. Sam, has he got a puncture? He's going
No, I don't think it's a puncture, but
damage? No?
no, I think just being very polite.
He's struggling.
He's
He
really,
really
all
is
over the
struggling.
place. 20, it's lap
I don't
20, of course. So
I don't
these
see
tyres,
a puncture.
no, these
but
tyres are on the
tyres
edge.
must be gone. Through goes F1 driver.
Yeah, these tyres are really going to be on the limit now for the guys that haven't
Here we
pit.
go. Pluto now has to try and defend from VRT Lilley. Unfortunately, the overspeed hasn't really worked, but Pluto parking on the apex there. VRT Lilley runs a little bit wide. Will Pluto let LMG through immediately here, though? We'll give him some slipstream. He'll divert him to the outside line here. Keeps the slipstream from Lilley, and through he goes.
Jesus. Right.
That's the traffic cleared then for now.
Yeah, that's the traffic cleared, but that wasn't particularly pretty from the McLaren boys. Not exactly the slickest of operations, but F1 driver and Finn going round the outside of
that's
each
a
other.
good move.
Yeah, brilliant move from F1 driver. Because he now needs to clear this traffic. He's net P3 as it stands. Medium runners of Such and Jab only managed 20 laps, 21 now, on those tyres. And they're in for
Softs on.
softs. F1 driver gets past Atlantis into turn 1.
So, VRT Lilley back into the lead of the race then, ahead of LMG, but they're separated by just 0.2 of a second. LMG has a penalty as well. VRT Lilley may easily get one as well, so the fight is not over yet. I think there's a scrap
FH
going on
relax.
back here. There is. And there's Jarv as well. Corey Marshall gets another penalty. He's had a lonely one at the back today.
I think Sink as well on the grass. Sink goes, trying to get past FH and down the inside into turn 4, up into 14th place. So Pluto aborts those mediums, gets onto, I would imagine, softs. So that's going to drop him down the order, or potentially, yeah, it's going to be softs. Atlantis, a 3-second time penalty.
Actually, just gonna have a quick look at the penalties for those that aren't aware. LMG, who's trailing since the undercut, has a 3-second penalty to contend with as well. F1 driver also has 3 seconds. The order isn't final, of course. We've still got some pit stops coming through, but Polo God, haven't really spoken about him much. He's net 4th.
Yeah,
Actually,
after,
net 5th, because Alfie doesn't have a penalty, but
after a brief, I don't know, sabbatical of a couple of days, I believe it was, he's back, and yeah, 5th.
he had confidence. You know, bit of downtime for him, I guess.
Reflective
strong.
period, yeah.
Hello, move for the lead. And LMG got a great run off the final corner and gets up into first place. But VRT Lilley gets a great exit in return. And back through he goes. Oh, I thought he was going to outbrake himself there, but LMG gets it off.
They both do.
They both do the exact same thing.
Synchronized swerve.
And here they go again.
Three
Wow.
position changes on 1 lap.
Such J, he was
Oh,
10th
Alfie,
when
that's
coming out
late.
the pits.
Down the inside and
Ooh.
barging through on Polo. I think Polo's got damage, did I see that correctly? I've not had a good view since I said that. No, he's absolutely fine, but low on fuel. But yeah, that was a robust move from Alfie at turn 4.
The two Ferraris traded positions on that lap. Such J, he was 10th when he came out of the pit lane. He's now 7th and a few tenths behind Tax. So, Good run so far for Such. Axe with the time penalty. Someone's dropping down the order. Java's gone off. There's not been a yellow flag or anything.
Alfie, an
so
F1
is this
driver.
lag? Oh. And
Gets it.
Alfie.
Yeah, on the straight. Ahead,
to
cuts him
third.
off. And up into third. That's the podium. And without a penalty, that's a safe podium as well.
It is, although he may be 7 seconds nearly behind VRT
Jab and
Lilley.
Such, if you want to watch it. Jav retires in the pit lane. So Polo, F1 driver and Alfie are following each other through. And then the soft runners of Such and Jab followed closely by the medium runners of Seed. Actually, Tax leads that. So yeah, 6th, 7th, 8th, all fighting. V2 picks up a time penalty, the latest of a long list of drivers with penalties.
Such, here he goes on SV Tax. He doesn't have DRS, Such J does. And through he goes there on the inside line of the turn 2 kink. For the braking zone, which is crucial. Polo God's ahead of F1 driver on the exit of the corner. And Polo God's back up to 4th place. And that is a proper 4th place.
Yeah, Jab on Such. And Tax down to 8th. So a really good start for him. But of course, you know, he's kept it clean. No penalties. That could play into his hands later on in the race if he just keeps it that way. And yeah, now the gap for the lead is 1.8 seconds. So it's all down to Speedy now to make that gap as wide as possible. The aim is 3 seconds.
I'm not sure what's happening with VRT Lilley. You know, he's dropping rapidly.
He's got his fuel lights just come on. So maybe he's dealing with a low fuel mode. Just to make sure he makes it to the end. 9 laps to go. Of course, he's got the tyres as well. He needs to conserve 23 laps. So there's a lot in his mind, I would say. And he might just hope that it can kind of come back to him later on.
Such J ahead of F1 driver.
Yeah. The softs are, of course, the faster tyre. 4 laps compared to 12 lap old mediums. Atlantis and FH, the battle of Tier 2, going on behind them.
Such is only 1.5 seconds behind a podium place here. And there's the penalty for VRT Lilley. There's the penalty for Alfie George at the exact same time.
It was indeed, and Such as well.
And Such gets another one. And Jab ahead of F1 driver into the penultimate corner. Well, it's all just randomly started here on lap 28. Got more penalties. F2 sprint?
Yeah. And yeah, only 2 retirements so far. Both in the pit lane, so no massive dramas, no one spinning off and hitting walls. Tax and F1 driver. I think this is a bit of a train, unfortunately, so they're not going to be able to size each other up. Pluto's gaining about a second a lap on these guys and will join the fight for 6th place. So I made that 5th, 4th, actually 3rd place. Look at this.
Here
it's
comes
so
Tax. And down the inside of his teammate, F1 driver, who has damage actually. So that will explain F1 driver's drop off in pace. Corey Marshall with the fastest lap on the fresh soft tyres. Such J, he's got the outside line, trying to overtake Polar God. Deja vu from earlier in the race. He's got it done, the exact same move, for a second time. Such J is not hanging about. He may even go for Alfie George here down the inside. And that's 2 positions in 2 corners. Here comes Polo God as well. Had a sniff around the outside of Alfie George. Corey Marshall retires in the pit lane. He just wanted that fastest lap. Surprised Tax hasn't got past F1 driver just yet. Oh, we've got a yellow flag, and I think it's for Sam. Sam has spun around at the same place his teammate did. And that may be race over for Sam. It's going to be a difficult one to recover from. Polo God fighting with Jab. He's just been overtaken by the Ferrari, and through Jab goes, sealing his 5th place for now. Here comes TRT Seed, and Tax is going for the move on F1 driver as well. No way through for Seed, and into turn 4. A touch a bit, the 2 Alphas, and TRT Seed looking to get through as well.
It's an Italian sandwich here. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's, I mean, very close. Seed's trying to cut his way back through. F1 driver, of course, with the damage. So, yeah, but yeah, a very Italian group of cars.
And Busy Gorgon the time penalty as well. I'd expect some form of appeal from VRT Lilley. I'll actually check his warnings to see if he's actually kind of eligible for one. He hasn't got a warning since his penalty. LMG, let's have a look at him. He's got 1 warning since, so obviously if you run wide, you run wide. If you're forced wide or lose substantial time, you know, that's an appealable warning, but I don't believe either have been in that situation. But we'll see post-race. F1 driver ahead of Seed. He's fighting for dear life with that damage. There's not long to go.
Not long to go, and these tyres are going to be on the limit. And yeah, the softs might try and spice up the action. Pluto recovering from last to 10th right now on the back of Seed. And Seed's on the back of F1 driver. Jarv calls it a day. Oh, this is going to be spicy between F1 driver Seed and Pluto.
Seed has a look. Pluto with the best grip here. Seed gets a good exit. Goes past F1 driver. Can Pluto do the same? Shown the inside line by F1 driver. And yes, he does. Can he slow it down? He has a bit of history with Seed, of course. From Bahrain.
Intensifies, yeah. And Aid squeezes past his GSR compatriot.
Or his commentating compatriot. Do a lot of comms together, these two.
Very true. Jab and Alfie 5/10. That's a tyre advantage there that could play out. And Pluto, yeah, again, 1 or so tenths behind. He's just losing a bit through the dirty air behind Seed, but that'll be for 8th place, and then perhaps even Tax on the cards. And Jab and Alfie, yeah, 6 tenths there into turn 1. It would appear that Lewis is just covering off any potential appeal from Jack by making that 3.5 second gap. Oh, Finn almost loses it through turn 1.
But gets past Aid anyway. Pluto now ahead of TRT Seed.
And Jab and Alfie swap.
Just a lap on.
Into turn 4. Seed might come back at Pluto actually. Later on the brakes perhaps, try and get a switchback. We've got yellows, that's Sync Sam. In the pit
Double
lane.
Mercedes DNF then.
It's a Haas party down 13th and 14th, chasing after FH.
Who's also a Haas driver.
Yes, very true. Yellow's in sector 1. That's just because of the emerging Mercedes.
Well, as it stands, Such has a 1.7 second advantage over Jab. Needs to gain 1.2 seconds more to hold on to that podium position. So Jab is just looking to stay within 3 seconds due to the penalty situation right now. Alfie George has the same amount of pens as Such. Polo God has 6 seconds. Tax behind has none. So Tax is on for a strong P6 finish here.
Yeah, I think he'll be very happy with that. Of course, moving away from Haas up to Alpha when it wasn't working out. So, yeah, I think P6 will be a great result for Tax given the season he's had so far.
I'll leave the penalties on now for the remainder of these final 2 laps then. LMG has another, huge lead over VRT Lilley, and that's the championship closed a little more.
He's just turned the wick up a little bit.
He has.
Over the last couple of races, especially, could have won in France, won last week. And wins again, perhaps, unless, tyres could still fail. They are in a vulnerable state for sure.
Yeah. They've hit 20 laps now, so depending on how hard they've been pushing, the tyres and them themselves will start to feel the effects. Such is hoping Alfie George has a last lap attack on Jab. Unfortunately, he's just slipping away a little bit, but the 2.1 second gap is not enough right now. Onto the final lap then. LMG leads close to 5 seconds, the gap at the moment. Such J is in third, but at risk of losing the podium to Jab. He needs to find another second on this final lap.
Pluto, I don't think he'll have enough as Tax, so the only battle might be Alfie and Jab through turn 4, because he won't be close enough to make a move in turn 3. And then behind them, Seed's closing in on Pluto, actually, very close, decides better. And Atlantis, an F1 driver.
That's Atlantis for a point.
I think he'll get it on penalties anyway, but yeah, it would be nice to get it on circuit. Lewis then, through the final couple of corners.
Here he goes then. For back-to-back victories. And a real shot at the championship now. LMG wins in Austria. VRT Lilley comes across the line to take second place. Such jet. Oh, someone got a puncture on the final lap or something. Jab takes the podium by 0.3 of a second over Such. Tax misses out on P5 by about 0.05 of a second. I'm not sure what happened there on the final lap. But Atlantis, they're in 10th place, getting a point as a reserve as well. It's great to see. And FH, 11th as well. F1 driver, 12th in the end. Axe, 13th place. Aid, 14th. V2 Combat in 15th. And Busy Gorgon will cross the line in 16th place. Let's get these drivers in then for an interview. I think we'll speak to Such because he's just said he can get a warning removed. So we'll speak to him about that. The more the merrier. We haven't had a restart today, so
It's a very
thank
compelling
God.
win. Very comfortable, maybe, for Speedy. You'll hear from him in a second.
Hey.
Jack's internet died straight after the race.
So
just run through the results
grids,
quickly. Yeah. Another win for FRA LMG. It's becoming a common theme now with VRT, Lilley and P2. Jab on the podium once more. Great to see again. Such J, who claims he can have a warning removed, is 4th for now. Alfie George is 5th. Tax 6th, great result for him. Pluto in 7th. TRT Seed in 8th. Polo God and Atlantis round off the top 10. Cheers, Dylan. Yeah. I'll scroll down because graphic designer angry. Oh, hello, Lewis.
Oh, wow. Oof. Yeah, you better scroll down.
I have scrolled down, don't you worry. Anyway, we'll get these interviews started while the chat kicks itself off for whatever reason. We'll start with our race winner, LMG. Well, my first question is, did you expect it to be that commanding? You know, you were undercutted, and then you fought for a bit, and then you just darted off down the road.
No, I didn't expect it to be that easy. It's a shame B2 disconnected because he was giving me a good fight on the softs, and he would have been up there, but after me and Jack made it through the traffic and I got past him, I think his tyres just died. Because at the end, mine were on 74%, so him pissing the lap earlier and being on controller, he just drops off. And yeah, it was a quiet race, quite nice.
Rundle, anything to say? Because
yeah, I suppose congratulations on the win. So you're now very, very close. I think only 5 points behind, maybe even only 4 behind Jack in the championship now. What's your view going into the second half? It must be for the championship, surely.
Yes, it is. I've somehow found a very good streak of races. 3 poles in a row, would be 3 wins in a row, but France happened. So yeah, I think I can try and keep this momentum going for the rest of the season, see if I can give a good fight.
Great stuff.
yeah, unfortunately, VRT Lilley's internet has died, so we'll move on to our, for now, 3rd place finisher, pending appeals, of course. Jab, it's your 3rd podium of the season. I mean, congratulations, you drove a great race. How did it unfold for you?
First, qualifying, we kind of bottled it, but once I started on the mediums, just got through the traffic, was patient, got on the softs, and just followed such straight through. Pretty simple.
Rundle?
Yeah, I mean, another great result for yourself. What was your... We're at the halfway point, so it's a good time to reflect on the first half and look forward to the second. What's your aim for the second half?
Hopefully, at least like 3 more podiums. Hopefully, like a bunch of great results, carry this momentum, and maybe can get like a win possibly, but we'll wait and see.
Great stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that honestly comes around because huge improvement. So congratulations to you. We'll speak to Such J quickly. Obviously, 3rd on the road, but 4th in the end via a penalty. You say you've already opened the ticket. You know,
Yeah.
what is it you felt that can be removed?
So the exit of the second sector, that like little runoff curb, it's one of them where it's like you run it and it can like shut you off, and it like kind of shut me off a bit, and it gave me a warning. And then after that, I just tried to keep it as clean as possible because I felt that it could get removed. And yeah, it was quite fun actually coming from the midfield to where I did. Yeah, enjoyable.
Throughout the race, were there any flashbacks to last season? Because obviously you performed so well there, and unfortunately it just didn't go your way in the end. Are you confident that you can get the podium?
Most likely, yeah. I was on the clip. It shows I was with two wheels on the track already, and then the curb just like spins me off, and then I get a warning for it. But yeah, nice to at least get a good result after last season's pains, I guess.
Rundle?
Well done on perhaps a podium. We'll see how that goes for yourself. Red Bull, would you say you're an outside shot for the Constructors' Championship in Tier 1?
I don't think Tier 1, because McLaren and Williams have already pulled away quite a bit at the start of the season, so it's a lot of catch up with me, for me and Corey. But constant results like this could give us a good chance of a Structures title at the end, but yeah.
And in terms of the overall league, of course, it's very close at the top between Williams, McLaren and Red Bull. And what's your view in the second half? Do you think you're going to be able to kind of keep building on these results and really challenge for the joint constructors?
Yeah, I think after the last two races, it didn't really go to plan for me. But yeah, I think now having this good result is going to build a lot of confidence going into the next few races. Hopefully, it could carry on the same.
Great stuff. Thank you very much for your time.
Alright, that's where we're going to end it. Obviously, next week we officially enter the second half of the season. And, well, certainly with the way this championship is going in Tier 1, Britain should be a great little duel in the calendar, actually. So I'm really looking forward to those races next week. Friday, Tier 4, of course. Saturday, we have Tier 3 and Tier 2. And then this time next week, on Sunday, we're back in Tier 1, of course. There's just 2 races to go until we reach an off week where the real F1 season starts. That's pretty crazy to think about. But yeah, hopefully everyone has a great rest of their day. Congratulations to all that participated today. Thanks everyone for watching. And for myself and Rundle, goodbye.